So, the FORTIFIED Podcast, episode 2. I'm sitting with a man, Mark Laurie. Mark Laurie, Mind Coach. How you doing, bro?
Good, bro. Here.
Good, I'm great, man. Always.
All right, mate. Good.
So, what's been happening with you?
Just being a dad, mate.
Good.
Just being a dad, man. Try to be a good dad, mate. That's it. And I just try to keep going with things.
2 wins you've got?
2 wee boys, mate. 2 wee boys, 4 and 6.
Brilliant.
I'll just talking about this with somebody yesterday, actually. And a boy I used to work with, client-wise, and he's come back on board, and he had a wee, not an incident, but something happened that made him realise, like, he's still got the kind of the youngness in him.
Right.
And I was saying, well, that's what took me a long while to kind of realise and give up, that when you're a dad, it's not about you anymore. And I think a lot of guys still hang on to that youth side and aren't ready to give that up. So they're not fully committed and fully taking responsibility for being a dad and the duties of being a dad, and they still want to have that, getting mad at it, going to the football, doing the things that they like to do,
Right.
and the things that they've always done.
If you're unpurposeful and going out and wasting your time going out and get mad with it, I don't think that anybody should do that. But being a father, there's an obligation to be a dad. So you're being a dad and you're being responsible for being a dad. But I will ask you then, do you think sometimes people can forget their purpose and focus solely on being a dad or a partner, or only put all their attention in their family?
I think, and what I've seen and what I've had sitting on the couch in here as well, is people can get too preoccupied with providing and providing only paying the bills. I pay the bills. I'm providing. I'm working. I need to work. And I kind of was like that for a while when I had the gym. I was like that for a while. And then I had an episode in 2021 when I collapsed. I thought I was dying. I thought I was having a heart attack. Right. I was quite close to being away. And it was a long journey. I got bundled into a motor and get fucking flew down to the hospital. It was a 408 for an ambulance. So I just collapsed and couldn't breathe, pain up here, pain in my chest, all that sort of thing. But as I'm in the motor, I was semi-conscious, and I couldn't really open my eyes, and I felt I couldn't get breath into my lungs. It was as if I was only getting breath in just a wee bit. Now that morning, I had felt no well for a while, and then that morning I had left a bit later, and my youngest wee boy had started, he could walk, you know, like an old drunk man walks on into the furniture and all that sort of thing, goes for the couch, to the table, to the radiator. He was walking like that, but that morning he realised he could turn himself.
Right.
So he was walking, he was doing wee figure eights and 11, and he's like, hey. So he was maybe just about a year. He was just about a year, he realised he could do that. So when I'm in the motor and I'm going, and I'm thinking, I'm fucking dying here. Like, I'm on the road out. I couldn't feel my legs. I could just slowly, I was in my body, but I could feel myself just shutting down. And that's all I could think was, I need to keep breathing until I get to the hospital. I need to try and stay compos mentis. And although I couldn't even open my eyes, I was like, I'm slipping away here. And the last year I was driving was actually an A&E nurse. And she kept checking my pulse, and she said, oh, well, after it, I was close to pulling over and thinking, I'm going to need to just work on him and get people to come and help us here. And I could feel her swinging the motor about, and she's doing that. You're all right, you're fine. I know I'm not all right here. But that totally changed me after that experience. It totally changed me, because I had a list of things I wanted to do. I wanted to buy myself this watch. I wanted to get enough money that I would buy this. I don't know if you remember the old Series 1 Escort RS Turbos. Right, like talking about an old B plate, right? They go for about 20-30 grand nowadays. I wanted one of them. I wanted this. I wanted that. None of that came into my head.
Right.
None of that came into my head. All I was thinking was, I can't die here. My wee boys need a dad. Wow. They can't grow up without a dad. So after that, when I finally got to the hospital and that sort of thing, and get seen to, and I was sitting up in bed, and I had the gym at the time, and I'm going, I need to get a turnover up to this. I need to get my money up to this. My missus came in to see us. I'm all wired up, and I just said to her, I was like, phone Martin and tell me he's on 20 hours a week now. I was like, I can't do this. Do you know what I mean? And it just made me realise. So see, after that, what it kind of affected me negatively business-wise, because it kind of killed my drive a wee bit. Right. Because I was like, I don't care if I'm skint. See if I'm there on my veins. Like, I'm there, because that was all I thought. Like, moments for death, man. And you're thinking, and it wasn't like, oh fuck, that's something happened there. It was a prolonged period of time when you're playing in your head. A funny thing, I can laugh about it now, right? But I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm struggling, and I could feel this light and this heat, and I could look through my eyes, I could feel it pure bright, and I'm thinking, I'm waiting on the fucking Virgin Mary here, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh no, that's the light that everybody talks about. I was like, fuck. And I was like, you need to try and open your eyes, you need to try, and I done that, and it was the sun coming in the fucking windscreen.
Same thing, man.
But I was like, see that kind of nice warmth.
Right.
And as I said, I'm waiting for Ave Maria. But that whole experience just totally changed. It changed how I looked at things, and now my role is just to be a good dad.
So what caused that health scare?
I took one of the vaccines, didn't I?
I think it was that,
100%. Because the one time in my life I should never listen to my wee ma.
Right.
The one time in my life, and even I remember standing to go and get it done, and I'm thinking, this is weird, man. This is weird, but my mum and dad were up helping with the veins, and they were para and all that sort of thing. They're all done. But the hospital never took it serious at the time, and they were like, oh, you're stressed, and I'll use steroids, use cocaine. I'm like, no, don't just judge how I look, do you know what I mean? I think I'm just a big bam-pot, do you know what I mean? So
they just said that, shouldn't
aye.
I never asked you.
Aye, so how much recreational drugs do you take, or how much gear are you using? And I'm like, what? And then another consultant came in, and he's like, right, my advice would be stop using steroids. And I'm like, what are you talking about steroids? I'm 100 kilo, you know what I mean? If I'm 120, 140 kilo, then
you're a big guy.
Aye, do you know what I mean? But you hardly look at me and say I look like a steroid nut, do you know what I mean?
Good compound in it. In good shape.
Aye. But so that's what caused it, and then it kind of get right. You just need to calm down and de-stress and that sort of thing. And then
maybe working too much as well. Maybe working too hard.
Well, it was definitely my because what happened. There was then traces in my blood where there was elevated levels of troponin, which is, if you've had a heart attack, you can have something like 7,000, it came up to like 7,000. Mine were increased, but weren't increased that much. So I pursued it, and I kept on chasing it, and kind of, I went to see a cardiologist and getting referred here and there. And then eventually, I had done my research. I mean, I went really late on and done my degree and all that, so I know I look like a bam, but I went in prepared to see this cardiologist ready. I'd researched and I had questions. And when he's like, oh, yeah, it sounds like you had a panic attack, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I never had a panic attack. My troponin levels were at this consistently. There was 3 different times, and he tried to palm me off. Anyway, so he kind of sat up and put his glasses on and got his notes out, and he's like, all right, so I pulled my wee notebook out. So anyway, that whole experience totally changed how I looked at things, and then made me realise, like, that's when I shut my gym down last year. The biggest reason was it was in a position where I was going to have to go back in, boots on the deck, and to rebuild it and fix it all and get members up on that again. But I'm 6 in the morning till 10 at night, and don't see the veins. The reason I started to employ boys was because there was a week, a while ago, I hadn't seen my veins for a week. They live in this fucking same house. I put them at bed on a Sunday night, and I never seen them again until the Friday afternoon when I said to my missus, I'm going to go and pick the boys up for nursery. And we Jojo again on the Sunday night, he would then Spider-Man, Batman. And on the Friday when I picked him up for nursery, he's going, Daddy, my play Spider-Man nursery, my play Batman. And I was like, I've just missed like sentences. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, no, I need to start coming after the gym flare. I'll try and manage it, and then try and keep that, and so that I can be in the house. Do you know what I mean? So that you're still in them, but you're trying to do 2 things, which was difficult, because I had built the gym up and I had the relationship with everybody. There was a kind of transition period where everybody was coming in expecting me still to be there. And the boys are good coaches, and they've built relationships with people as well. But it just didn't. At the end, things just started to change a wee bit. And then when I came to the point when I was going, right, what am I going to do here? And I said, well, to fix this, I'm going to need to come back in here, do all the others again. Am I prepared to do that and no see the veins? And even if I'd done it all myself again, and maybe just had one boy help me or something, then it's just too many hours. I don't see the veins. Doesn't matter if you're bringing home football player money.
Right.
And the veins are running about, the rest head to toe and Gucci. They're not seeing me. I may as well be away getting mad because I'm absent anyway. So I'm not there to influence how their upbringing is. They've got 2 wee boys, so the 2 wee boys need their dad. They need to be like, when I think about it now, like, I don't want a Father's Day kid to my dad's like, cheers for all the examples, because I realised now there was so much instilled into me with my dad, just subconsciously. So now I'm applying that, Do you know what I mean? Which is kind of different, I suppose, because you're at a different age now, innit? But you're a different kind of era. But it's traditional. I think about my granddad, my dad, my uncles, the examples that they set, the way they, without really trying, the way they showed me how to be a man, sort of thing.
My dad worked when I was younger. My dad worked a lot. Really, really driven business guy, you know what I mean? I didn't see him a lot when I was younger. And you know what I mean? Like,
Aye.
just because he's always out working, it's
Aye.
the traditional thing to do. And then I was always working. My daughters were born. And then my son's just turned 4 next week. I've got to go on holiday for his 4th birthday. And I missed fucking years of his life, mate. Years, obviously, I was away when I got in trouble, but I was in Marbella working and they were in Spain for like a year, mate. I was coming back for a day, and so I was doing close protection security and I was travelling in Europe with a job, a fantastic job.
Aye.
So I was getting like good money, really good money, and it was a great opportunity. But for a guy that's got a family, is what I kind of tying in what you're saying there.
Yeah.
It was horrible, it was hellish for me.
Aye.
That's how I got in trouble, because I ended up getting the money and fucking try to get myself back. I like being with my family, but I need a balance as well. I need to
You need to
also
bring
go
in
and
money
work.
because you need a lifestyle.
No, even the money's fantastic, but I also need my life. And
Your
that's
own
what,
time.
that's what I'm saying here. To be a dad is the number one responsibility to be a father. A father needs to be a dad, a good dad that's in the house. But see, when I was younger, when my daughter was born, my first daughter was born, I stopped fighting at 26.
Yep.
Because it was like, right, cool, money. And then I lost myself a wee bit in that process, because I lost what I was good at. I was good at fighting.
Aye. Yep.
And then
You
all
feel
these
you
years,
lost your identity a wee bit.
I lost something. I felt a bit. I lost something. I tried to supplement it in different ways.
Aye.
With I mean, that's a whole different podcast, getting into all the shit I've done. But no, it's funny. Even I might argue with my wife sometimes about this, but I do what I want. What I'm purposeful what I do is like fighting. Because I like to fight and I'm good at it, and it helps me bring in all my business as well,
Yep.
comes to fighting. But then I'm also leaving that environment and going to my family. So I'm going to ask you this. Now you're doing the mindset stuff.
Yep.
When I talk to you now, you seem a bit more, it's at peace with yourself.
Aye.
Because it's what you want to do.
Yep.
I think, rather than being up in the gym.
Aye. Yep.
You're maybe going home after being satisfied with that purpose, and then being a better father, because you're not thinking about, I don't like my day to day.
Aye.
That's a better thing.
Aye. So I'm still, obviously I'm working for myself now, but somebody asked me the other day, enjoying it. I said, well, because now I just need to worry about getting a wage for myself. Whereas before, when at the point in the gym, I had 4 coaches, 2 physios, a cleaner, my missus, what I get paid before I did. So you're getting the 8 wages and the tax man and the overheads and all that sort of thing. So it was a lot of stress and a lot of plates to keep spinning. Like you said, it was always bubbling in the back of the mind that I probably wasn't enjoying it. It ran its course for me. It served me well. It served me well over for the years when I kind of finished uni and then set my own place up. So it served its purpose. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about business. Obviously, I learned a lot about. I developed myself, because when I went into that, I didn't really know what I was doing. I never had good routines. I trained, but that was it really. So all that then developed, and then going out walking with the dog, it was my kind of my peace time. That's when I started doing all my thinking, and that's when all this mind stuff then kind of started, because the videos I was putting out, and I'm putting out videos and I'm expecting people to slag me and that sort of thing, but comments like that never really come in. And then I'd get messages. I mean, the first message I got off somebody, and it was like how my videos had helped them to get through a dark time, and I was like, did that bam me up? Just to use you, kind of typical guys mentality, isn't it? You're going, that bam me up? Is he sick with people here? And they're like, they're going to do all these, to get messages back and forth and then screenshot them or something. So, but then the more of that started coming, and then people then started to ask me advice on things, and if I had experience in it, then there's my advice on it. If it was something I wasn't experienced in, I'm like, whoa, man, it's just quite heavy. And I'd say, like, mate, I would advise you to do this, but I think you need to go and get help and that sort of stuff. And then that's when the stuff I started getting into, like the NLP and the CBT stuff, I had used a guy for the NLP stuff. He stopped doing it, and then I went and done a qualification on it myself, and then done the CBT, and it just kind of grew from there. So that's where I suppose it was getting me back to normality, like going to college when I was older, after all my carry on, going to college and going to uni, not getting a job and then setting up the business. It was all part of the process, I suppose, now when I'm looking back at it. going out with the walks with Alba was then developing the mind, and then took me down this path. So it's all kind of meant to come there. And
Aye, well, it's all
after shutting down the gym, it's like it was a wee bit disappointing that. Well, so the decision was that when I came to it, it was like, well, I'm either going to need to go back and do all the hours myself, or I go back and I help get it built up. I keep the coaches on me to get it built up, but you're then paying all these wages and you're earning that at the end, when save all that hassle, all that stress, spend the time your range, and I can find an easier way to earn that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Rather than going through all there. And I thought about it when I came to the end of the gym. I'd sell it on to somebody. I'd walk away with something financially and maybe start something else, but it didn't end up like that. But I played it in my head, and I was out walking, and I kind of thought, well, if somebody had said to me, if you had come and said to me, I'll give you $100,000 for your gym, but everything that you've learned and every lesson that you've had over the past 9-10 years, I want to download that, wipe your brain clean of it, and I'm taking that, or you can keep all that, and there you go, I'll chuck you that, and you can take that and walk away, but you keep all your lessons. I'd rather have the lessons. I'd rather have the knowledge. I'd rather have the lessons and the knowledge and experience. And so I kind of made peace with that. And I was like, right, cool. I'm in a better position now to kind of move on with things because of the experiences. And like you said, I never actually thought of that. I'm probably more at peace with myself now, that it is away. It's not bubbling away, and that I can. If I'm in the house, then I'm in the house with the range. You know what I mean? Like, last night we were at the back playing dodgeball. Do you know what I mean?
And that probably would, I don't know, I don't even need to know what it is, difference in money what you bring in or whatever, but I would imagine, say for instance, you're making less money than what you did then, it's probably better off because you're getting that time with your kids and you're being a better person with kids.
100%.
That's priceless.
100%. Because it's like I said at the start, I don't know if you've about this as well. Like, provide and protect. That's the two things for a dad, isn't it? That's the two. What I see as being a guy, being a dad. Provide and protect. But that provide isn't just about providing money and providing food. There's loads of things stem off that for me. I think like you've got to provide an example. You've got to provide love. You've got to provide food. You've got to provide money, food, clothes, all that sort of stuff that does cost money. But there's stuff that doesn't cost money. And I see parents. My house is here, and there's a wee park just outside my house. Mate, I see parents on like that, and you see them scrolling, and they're doing that pushing away in the swing, right? And then the rain stopped, and they're like, or they're sitting on the bench. Some even drive down in the estate, and sit outside the park with the range, and they sit in the motor on their phone. The range are in the park. I'm playing in the park, mate. I'm at Glasgow Green a couple of weeks ago, chasing my wee boys about. They're on the wee pirate ship thing. I'm chasing about, and they're like, the sea monster's coming to get us, right? So I'm chasing about. Other Rangers are like, get me. I'm chasing all these Rangers about. Then my missus is shouting, it's like, all right, we need to go. I'm a wee boy. I'm like, all right, I need to go home and get my dinner now. And they're like, do us one last time, all that, man. And I'm looking about like, where are the parents? The parents are just kind of sitting there on their phone or whatever. I'm like,
There's a business for you.
Chasing Rangers about, man. Aye.
I took my son to Glasgow the other day, and he's on his wee bike, fucking loving it. I got his stabilisers off, he's only 3 and all, it's good. And
brilliant.
I put my phone down, obviously, but in the past, I'm not going to lie, mate, because I was like 11 months without a phone, after having a phone for years, mate. And
brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, mate, brilliant. 11 months, and I had this wee book, and I used to just write in this wee book, yep. Brilliant. But when I came out, it was like, whoa, I've got a phone again, man. And then I remember being at a park, and my missus is really aware to parenting, but she's aware to, maybe she reads up on it, I don't know. My missus studies psychology, right. And she works with kids. But I remember being on my phone, and my boy was going, Dad, and I'm obviously ignoring him. But I think I was doing something important for business.
For work,
I was actually, it wasn't like, I was meant to be working that day, and I wasn't, so I was then finishing something. And when she went home, she went, Brian, she maybe doesn't know, she wasn't judging me, but she went, Brian, when Wayne is like saying, Dad, and you're ignoring them, that's impacting their adulthood as well, because they might not get that. And see, when she said that, I felt terrible, and I was like, whoa. But these parents are driving down their cars, it is easy done and all, they make me stressed out as well, and it is a form of dopamine, it's a form of like relaxing yourself or whatever.
See, there was a couple of points like that as well. So see, when Johnny, my oldest one, when he, up until maybe 2.5, he would go for an afternoon nap at a certain time. So it was one Sunday, wee Jojo's wee baby, he's in his wee cot, he's sleeping. Johnny's upstairs having his naps. I'm brilliant. Sunday, Celtic Kilmarnock game was on, right, so I'm like, brilliant, a couple of rolls and all that, wee bit of peace and quiet sitting with Celtic Kilmarnock game. Johnny's got up for his wee nap, and he's climbing over me, so I don't know, he's maybe about 2 or something like that, 2 and a bit, and he's climbing over me, and actually I went, watch me, man, Daddy's trying to watch the football, and as soon as the words came out of my mouth, mate, I felt sick, man, felt sick, mate, it was a beautiful sunny Sunday, and I hang there, and I'm like, Celtic Kilmarnock, me, man, and I just done that, tell he's off, I said, right, wee man, come on, we're going to the park, son, come on, I went out to the park, and then that was a moment when I realised, like, see, the weekend, I was always kind of looking, I was getting annoyed because before the rains came at the weekend, it was downtime. I could relax, I could go out with the dog, me and the missus could do something, whatever. But then when the rains came and the things were, I used to write my wee book, it's not about me. I write my wee journal in the morning. Remember, it's not about you. And seeing as soon as I switched that in my mind, it's not about me. It doesn't matter if the football's on. It doesn't matter that you want to do this or you want to go out with the dog or you used to go out with the dog for fucking 4 hours at a time. None of that matters now. That was then. It's now not about you. So see, once you've done your duties and you've done all that, then once everybody's in their bed, you can put the box on and have a whiskey. Once your duties are done. And then, like you're saying with your wee boy getting his stabilisers off at 3-year-old. So we Johnny, we were getting there with his stabilisers. And he's getting close and he was getting more confident with it. And there was a Celtic Rangers game. And Kirsty's like, you want me to take the boys out and watch the football? And I says, no. I says, I'm not bothering. Sometimes if it was a game, she would then take them out and that would be my wee fucking bad time to watch a game. I says, but then as it got older, and I'm like, that's time I could be having my Rangers, we'll always play Rangers. So when they're big enough and they want to sit and watch it, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? But no, I'm like, it's not really fair of me to say, don't talk to Daddy for 2 hours a month, I'll shut them after their grannies so I can sit and watch the football. So I'm sure it was getting to the end of the league or something like that, or it was maybe a cup game or something, right? And it was a bit game, and I'm thinking, oh fuck it, he's close to getting his stabilisers off here. So I says, no, I'm going to take him out. I go and go on his bike without his stabilisers. In that time, so I mean, Celtic could have pumped Rangers 10-0. But the feeling I see, that feeling in it, I mean, and he's, Daddy, look, and he's running round, man. I'm like, running about my boy. It was like a pure big moment. Cause I remember my dad, but I remember being a wee boy and all that, where he taught me to go my bike. So it was just one of the things taking a pass on. So it was a big damn moment, do you know what I mean? But it was fucking unbelievable, man. And there's no, like, the last Celtic Rangers game there, I didn't watch it. I'm like, it's, if I can watch, if things align and I've got the freedom to watch it, brilliant. But I'm not going to start pushing things aside and saying to the events, nah, I'm not doing it. There was a wee, we were out playing one time again, we were out playing one Sunday out in the street and that messing about. I bought a wee bike so I could jump about in the street with the events. And there was a wee guy and he was about 10 or 11 or something. Celtic Rangers games on, it was a cup game this one. And he was about 10 or 11, he's head to toe Celtic gear on, Celtic strip, brand new Celtic strip. Must have cost his dad about 100 quid or something. But his bike's got stabilisers on. And his pals are all jumping about, and then they were playing football and all that. And then, so I'm thinking maybe there's a reason why, but he was jumping about playing football and all that. I'm like,
maybe had that love, no love, no had that.
The dads went, there's a Celtic strip for you, son. The wee guys not even that interested because he's not sitting watching the game. Well, I say,
and no that I judge people that buy fancy things for clothes, but I do see a lot of importance in like brands in that marketplace. I don't like brands personally, and that's my own personal opinion. I don't judge anybody that does. I just don't think that whole thing here, like, given, why waste all that money in a kid? You can do the same thing in fucking Zara or whatever. Like, even Zara, even there, like, do you know what I mean? You might, as you said there, think that's your time off, because I've worked hard, I've bought that nice item and that materialistic thing, and then my job isn't really necessary then. So wee things like going on the bike and taking time off phone. I've known you for 20 odd years through a lot of things, getting out of town and fucking training and all that kind of stuff. Can you really a wee bit of your history and which brought you here? Whatever you need.
Well, how far we go back, man? Back to when we met, I suppose. So when we met, it was around about the kind of Tunnel and Vicky's days, wasn't it? So we're talking probably about 2004, 2005.
20 odd years ago, mate,
Aye, would have been, at least. Well, maybe even before that. 03, 04, something like that, I think. Archaeos, Tunnel, Vicky's, all that sort of thing. So just back in the day, back in the glory days, when the music was good and the
Partying.
back when birds were real men, do you know what I mean? When you seen as a lassie using a stiletto heel as a weapon, man. You know what I mean? Aye, so back then, I was full of carry on. I was kind of I was decent at school up until a certain point. I just lost interest. And then I went to college to do graphic design at 17. And after a few months, I just didn't like it. And then that was that. I bounced about, done different jobs here and there, and just bounced about. My main always kind of worked, but my main thing was just money for going out to the weekend. Money for going out to the weekend. That was all I wanted. I just loved the tune. I loved the raves. I loved being out. I loved being mad with it. I loved partying. I just loved that, man. And then I suppose that's seeing year end. You're involved in everything else that's going on in that sort of thing, aren't you? Everybody else that went about in that time, nothing special, man. And you're in these scuffles. You're getting involved with wee turns here and there. And you then get attracted to the easy side of things, because I got attracted to a bit of easy money because I'd built up a lot of debt trying to live a lifestyle that was out with my means, sort of thing. So I built up a lot of debt, and then you get attracted to kind of easy money, as I said, and followed that route for a while, and hand in hand with the partying and the going out. And then followed that, went down that path for a wee bit more. Ended up on the naughty step for a wee while, and again, that was a big moment in my life, and it was a big moment of clarity. It was only a period of a few months, but it was a period when you're going, wow. I mean, actually, you come up with seas, man. You've noticed, you come up with seas up the castle and that as well. Aye. So that was a big wake up point for me, and it was a big point. And it sounds like fucking mad cliche, but it was when I kind of realised who I was. Do you know what I mean? I then had a better relationship with myself. I realised I was drunk. I was getting drunk all the time. I was getting mad all the time. So I wasn't happy with myself and happy where I was going. I was trying to people please. I was trying to play a character. I was trying to kind of play up to the party and all that sort of thing. So then when I realised that I was kind of more, I started training. That's when I started. I tried to train before that, but I was always getting mad with it. So you're going to the gym on a Wednesday and Thursday and going for a sauna and then getting out mad with it again and all that sort of thing. So when I started training, and I just felt brilliant. You know what I mean? Obviously, when you're away, you've cleaned up your act. You're eating your dinners every day. Do you know what I mean? And you're then started to make relationships and friendships with people that were based on the friendship. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't based on just people you ended up with because you were out mad with it. You're cutting about the same people. So that was there was a lot of realisation and a lot of thinking get done then, and a lot of reflection. And it's probably where my personal development started, although I never realised I was doing it. I started to look at wanting to use the time to better myself, to kind of pick up my education again. I thought when I get home, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get educated in something again. I'm going to go and pick something up. I'd messed about different college courses, and that's when I came home. I was barbering, but I was too slow. That's right. So you did. I was too slow because obviously very young, nobody's born about time, are they? Whereas you go for a haircut in the town, you're wanting in 20 minutes. So it was never really going to work for us, and I wasn't that great. I was all right. I mean, I could sort you out. I was all right during lockdown. I mean, people needed one, but the fitness was the thing. So that's when I remember sitting having a conversation with somebody, and she's like, "Why don't you open up your own shop?" And I was like, that's not what I have to do. I just know that's no. I'm not good enough at it. I'm not fast enough. It's not for me. I said, I just love the training thing. She went, why don't you go and look at college or something like that? And I said, right. So, and I looked at Springland College, what I was doing there, and applied for that, and started a January start course with wee Christmas leavers. And I was like 27, 28, and there's wee guys at 15 in the class. So it was good because it then it started me on a path. It started me on a track. And I fucking loved it, mate. Absolutely loved it, and going well with the lecturers. Some of them are my age, so I got on really well with them. Everything made sense to me. I found something I was good at. I found something I enjoyed. I found something that I picked up the knowledge quite quickly, and as I said, I just understood it. So that I found my thing. I found my thing. I was like, right, this is brilliant, and I just knew this is what I'm doing. And I done that 6-month course. Done the 2-year HND. The college was only up the road. I was back staying with my mum and dad's at this time. and because you're only up the road phase, and I just stayed in this wee routine. I would just go to college, go and train. Started going to the wee boxing gym up in Milton, the old one up Milton, up in the Liddy. Started going there. I was doing the circuits and doing the boxing, doing the weights, doing running, just loving it, man. Do you know what I mean? And just think, this is fucking class. Wasted so much time. I was like at a weekend, and even had my fucking ankle hang on it. And a weekend, I'm sitting at 7:15 waiting to get a run on Saturday morning. Boom, boom, boom. To go and do this, I was getting in the tune. I was cutting about, but I was cutting about myself because everybody's all away doing other things, or they're getting mad with it, or they're still rough, or they're still sitting in houses. So I just get used to cutting about myself a lot, and I was just trying to cram as much as I could into the weekend. And I was like, I used to sit in somebody's flat with a blind shut, man, phoning to get somebody who would drop things off or go to the show or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like so much of that time. It was, you can maybe say wasted, but it was all experience, and it's all life experience, man. It's all valuable stuff, and I've got people sitting on the couch, because of my experiences, I can relate to what they're saying.
So I'll ask you that, like, when you do help people, it comes to a place of experience.
Yep.
You've been there, you've done that. I say this, like, I don't like, there's a big argument for this. I don't like coaches in fighting that haven't been at war or haven't been in the trenches or whatever.
Yep.
Me personally, as a coach for me,
Yep.
or a cornerman, if I'm in a fight, I like to have somebody that's got my back, that I know that's
got that experience, aye.
So when you've got a client in here, like when I went away into the naughty step as well, there was a wee therapy thing. It was in Spanish, and I remember the people that were doing it, nice hearted, kind and that, but it felt to me like it was coming after a textbook.
Aye.
And I felt that it wasn't relatable to me, and it wasn't any. I wasn't taking anything off it. One guy in particular, though, I think he did through these issues or whatever, and I could relate to him and resonate with him a wee bit. I personally think, like, when I do similar things to you, I help people with their mindset, and I help people fortify their mindset.
Yep.
And it comes from a place of experience.
Experience, me, aye.
Me and you, we've had experience lives rather than somebody that's just done good at school, went to university, and not really lived a bit of life. That might help some people, obviously, God willing, and it's great. But I think for the type of people that they're helping,
they have to know what you're talking about.
You can't just make it up. You need to come from a place of I've been there and I know your pain and I felt the trauma. And we stay in a country, I say this a lot, there is too much drinking drugs in this country. Some people can control it, right? I don't judge that, but I think if less people, especially coke, would be the big one, right? Especially
I've had wee guys in my gym on school projects that are 12, 13-year-old that are buying 0.2s.
Horrible, isn't it?
And I'm like, 0.2? A 0.2 a prop? I'm like, who the fuck is selling you a 0.2?
Exactly.
Do you know, it's horrible, mate.
And what makes them think it's cool to do that?
Well, they're just seeing elders, aren't they? They're seeing elders doing it, they're seeing, obviously, dads and uncles doing it as well, do you know what I mean?
And there's the drug dealing as well, because if you're in like an area that's not really flourishing with like opportunities or whatever, and you see a guy with like fancy Jeep and nice clothes and all that, and he does a few gram or kilo or whatever, you think he's the role model. He's the guy that I want to be. I seen it as well when I was younger. You know what I mean? I seen like straight business as well, but I seen these easy-go-lucky, jacky lads with nice motors, nice birds, didn't really have a care in the world. But then as I got older, I realised that a lot of the guys are fucking riddled with anxiety.
Can't sleep at night.
They can't sleep at night, and
can't sit in the barbers without checking the window. And
I don't know. I'll say this to you: see, when you disengage for that kind of lifestyle, no, the partying and that as well. Did you find as if you disengage a lot of people at the part of that as well, as I didn't really connect with them as much?
Just seen them less.
Just
seen them less, mate. Just seen them less because I wasn't going to them, because I wasn't about, because or sometimes I would go, but I would go sober.
Alright.
I would just go sober.
I can't do that.
And mate, as soon as somebody starts slabbering and telling you the same story, has been talking for half an hour and hasn't finished the sentence.
There's no ha-ha.
It's just like, you know what, man? I just I'm away to the toilet, man. See you later. Or I'll maybe go to the meal and leave or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But there was times when I would go to things and I would just drive, or I would just nip in, go for a wee bit, and then once
because you do miss a bit of socialism if you're not in Scotland. You're not part of that culture.
Aye.
If I don't, my mates all like a drink at the pub, and it's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? But I can't do it, so I feel as if I'm left out of that social dynamic. I'm in the gym a lot. I talk to people in the gym. That's
aye.
But I do feel as if I'm left out, and I do also think there is an opportunity to try and clean up a wee bit. I think there's an opportunity. These kids that buying 0.2s,
Aye.
You're helping them, and I'm trying to help them as well. They shouldn't be hanging at school. And
Aye.
then maybe in the future, that won't be a hang as much, you know?
Yep. Aye.
And it might be a hang that's obviously you
Aye, there has to be something that kind of breaks the, I don't know, breaks the cycle, whatever, breaks the kind of glorification of it, or just the route to it. I think it's just a kind of a natural route for some people. Do you know what I mean? With the vapes, with the green, it's just it seems to be a kind of natural progression for them. It's fucking scary, man.
Even drinking, man. I remember drinking in a field or whatever, in a street or up a coast or whatever when I was a wee boy. That's no good. Like really, now I've got daughters and my daughters are that age. Like, no for off it.
Mate, when I think back to bonkers, and there was people at 15 that in bonkers, and when I think the real lasses at 15 that used to come to my gym, I'm like, can I imagine them in a nightclub, never mind bonkers, which was the most violent, the most violent building in Glasgow City Centre. Do you know what I mean? It was mental.
That's mad. My wee brother was in the tunnel at 13.
That's right. I remember there was a big crowd days that we used to hide them and put them in the middle.
I mean, that was quite different because my wee brother's like 9 years younger than me, and it's just me and him. And like, I was going out, and it was like, fuck, no, going out with him, like, like just like, no drinking or anything like that, but just like having a drunk. And maybe it was good socialising, but maybe obviously bad that he's seen that kind of stuff as well. I fucking would never want my Wednesday and that, you know what I mean?
Aye.
But it's a mad situation because Glasgow, it's got so much fucking goodness in it.
Aye.
I
think it's just where you put your feet. It's where you go, the situations you put yourself in. So when I stopped going to parties and stopped going out and getting mad with it, I would stop end up in mad twisties. There's people I always ended up with. I'd end up with not bad people. You'd be sitting like, mate, yeah, I ended up with you 2 weeks ago, and these were on the same path. We were doing the same thing, but it was never gone anywhere. Do you know what I mean? If I was still doing that was 20 years ago. If I was still doing that now, I probably did.
And there is some guys at 40 odd that are still doing that.
Aye, and there is some people I know that have passed away that it was, and it's no doubt down to the hard life that they get for sale with the partying, but
doesn't come with a warning label, doesn't it?
I know, and the party got to stop at one point.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? And it was stopped for me, which was good. And there was a couple of times, even in my years when I was at college and uni and I'd cleaned up my act, I would still go out, maybe like Easter weekend or I would still have my times. I would sort of, like at Christmas, New Year, that was my free pass to myself. Do you know what I mean? I would go out and have a bit of a blow it, but then it then started to stop, and it's like you're not really enjoying that as much, and everybody got a bit older, or you're maybe sitting with younger people, and you're going, like, how you do it? Really? Aye. So you're maybe the old weird guy in a photo, and you look like you bought the taxi driver out with him or something. You know what I mean? So it was like you're like, right, even these ones need to kind of stop. But I found then, and this is something I talk about with people that I've got on the couches or the wee guys for the school projects. I'm like, stop. When you're all hanging about a close and you're all smoking green, what's the part of like what he's talking about, what he's doing? And I said, when you went to boxing or when you went to, like when we've done the MMA sessions, but how do you feel now? What he's talking about when he's walking away from here, you're talking about that hold that you were learning or leg combos. You're then, I said, you take that into a different place. There was a boy you're working with, and I was like, I want to go to the gym and go to that, but I just don't know how to go. I was like, go yourself.
Aye.
Just go yourself. You start to talk to other people. Says when I started doing things like, so when I started going to the wee boxing club up Milton years and years ago, there would be boxing on at the weekend. And Big Dan, why come up mine, we're watching boxing. Aye, sound, we're up watching him, order a Chinese, sit and watch your boxing, go home after it. I mean, wake up the next day, brand new. Whereas before, and other people would have been watching the same boxing in a different house, but the boxing would be on, but they're, which is fine, that's cool, man. Aye, no, man, you need to get this and that and fucking. So, then, like, everything kind of changed, my circle changed, I just don't know what you felt at the but it just started to do different things. And then you started to make new connections, new friendships, and new relationships, I suppose, with other people who were doing their things rather than people who were doing their things. Because I said, when I was away, and I made pals with a handful of people because we had a connection on something. Do you know what I mean? There was a boy I was in with, and his wee boy was deaf, and he used to phone him. But obviously his wee boy can't talk to his wee boy. So he used to phone him. So after he'd be on the phone, he would come in, he's like, on the phone, who's the wee boy? So the first time he kind of explained it. And then other times he would just come in, they would just sit, I'd just be sitting watching the telly or something, they would just come in and sit. And I would just know, And I'm like, you want a cup of tea or something? He's like, I would just sit and have a cup of tea. Probably didn't really talk or anything like that, do you know what I mean? He would just sit. And then maybe a relationship or something was on, or the football was on, and maybe just a wee couple of things about that, and then, right, yeah, maybe, right, sit and see you later. So because, and my wee godson, I spoke to him the first time I had him talk, was on the phone there, and he's like, Uncle Mark, and I'm like, whoa, man, fucking blew me away, do you know what I mean? Because he would have been a baby before then. So I had it into him, and I was like, fucking hell. So we had a kind of a connection and a good friendship. So when you're feeling a friendship, so it's like when you're a wee guy and you're pals with somebody, because there's that proper connection, do you know what I mean? So, so when I started to move in a more kind of positive track and pals with college, man, they were all wee guys, man, they're like, Mark, one out and all that.
Fuck that.
Fucking Tuesday night, man. I need to put denims on like that. Where you go, man? But you just started to, I suppose I started, as I said earlier on there, I got about myself back then, and I probably do still quite do that now. I quite enjoy it.
Because you learn solitude, didn't you? When you're
Aye.
you learn to enjoy solitude.
And I enjoy being myself, mate.
Solitude's a
I
gift.
fucking love it, man.
Aye,
That's why I like working in this wee office, mate. I just love coming in here and just sitting myself and back my way, doing whatever I need to do on the computer or the phone or whatever. Or even when I was out, as I said, when I was out with my dog, but now I still just go walk myself. I fucking love it, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's just, or even my missus takes the reins out and nobody's in, it's like, just sit, man.
Relax.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get into what you're up to in here,
Yep.
The social media thing. So I was in Portugal. I remember clocking it, and fucking there's Mark on, and I'm loving it, man. And so I've kind of copied it a wee bit, mate. So over the years, and I remember talking to him. I was in Portugal about some stuff. Cause I learned a bit of stuff from after it. It's real, authentic, great advice, and it's just you being you. There's no team following you. There's no captions, and it's getting all these attention and all these views and that kind of stuff. And so I'm kind of hitting home with myself. Cause I like that too, just being authentic. When on social media is a hard nut to crack. The authenticity, especially now, is what drives people to you.
Aye.
And obviously it's a business. Obviously you're maybe not at that given point years ago, but now that's what's bringing people in your door to help you. It's hard though, innit? You said you think people are bamming you up and talking, but mate, I do get bammed up. I get my best mates. They'll never share my posts or anything like that. They'll never fucking acknowledge it. I think one of my mates stopped following me because it's not my close mate.
My sister stopped following me. Aye.
Mental, innit?
Aye.
That's fucking mental. Like, I don't disregard their businesses. It's a business. A lot of people don't see that. A lot of people say he's just trying to fucking talk on the camera. But it is a great tool.
Aye.
So where did that come from? How did the walk through that come?
Mate, I never had social media until I started the gym, right? So until I opened up my gym, so you're talking 2015 or something, right? And I actually said, I slaughtered social media. That's gay as fuck, man. I'm not having that. Taking pictures of yourself and all that. And then when I was opening up my gym, and people would say, you need to make a Facebook and that. And I was like, I'm not making a Facebook, I'll have a website and that'll do. I was probably a bit, I was naive and probably a wee bit thinking, people just come to me, I'm a good coach, people come to me. But you're opening the gym up, you're not coming with any kind of background of being at Celtic Rangers, working with this boxer or anything. You're just a wee guys opened the shutters and nobody's came. So you have no reputation. So then I went, right, cool, need to learn this. So I made a Facebook and that for the gym. So I had a Facebook and Instagram and a Twitter for the gym. But when I see the posts for years ago, I was trying to be very clean cut and very professional and very kind of high level. Oh, this is how you do a squat, and this is how you correct a squat when someone can do it. This is how you correct it. And blah, blah. Mate, born as fuck, totally born. Then it started to bring in the wrong people because it was very, very vanilla, and it was very prim and proper. So I had people who knew me. And maybe a guy like yourself who knew, there's Big Mark opening a gym, we'll go to him. And then I had somebody like one of my mom's pals. And then I had a lassie that had seen a discounted deal. So they use her on the one session. So there's maybe 4 or 5 using the one session. And it's a totally different mix of people on the session. There's no, I remember one night, one of the kind of older ones, she's like, music's a bit heavy and a bit loud. Can we turn it down a bit? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm turning it down, and somebody's like, turn the tunes up, man, it's happening. So you're trying to satisfy too many different people within the session because I'm coaching the session. So I then was like, right, I need to put the voice of me out through the gym. So I started to just kind of relax that a bit more, made it a bit more humorous with posts and writing things and that. And it started to get a bit more traction. So people then, but I wasn't really putting me out. And then I started to put me a wee bit on Facebook. No as many doing videos, but just writing things that were a bit more authentic, a bit more natural. So it then started to attract a bit of attention because it was a bit kind of glitzy humour. So then and then there was things I was wanting to say. I was seeing a lot of shite on social media, and there was things I was wanting to say, but I was aware that specific the gym wasn't Mark Laurie, so I didn't want to say things from specific because it wasn't the right voice or the right kind of platform to say it. So I went, fuck it, I'm going to make my own. I'm going to make my own Instagram, put my own stuff out. And I was putting things out, and I was just trying to be funny, and I was slagging things, and I was like making fun of kind of influencers and all that sort of stuff, and I'm just trying to be kind of just being funny, doing daft things with the dog and all that. And then I'd started listening to podcasts and all that. So you're talking like, I don't know, 9 years ago. And I didn't know what a podcast was. I started listening to these, and then they were making me think. And I'm like, fucking hell, I never thought of that. I never looked at it that way. So that then, and I remember just one day I was just out with the dog, and I went, I'm going to do this video. I just took my phone out. And I had been doing videos, but I'd been doing them in the gym, and I'd almost been kind of scripting them. So I was having to do takes, and then edit it and all that. So I fucked that up. And I remember one day I was just out with the dog, and I just picked my phone up, and I was like, something that had made me think for a podcast or a book or something. And I said it and just posted it. I just walking along, said it, posted it. And I was looking at it and I'm going, right, if I'm watching it, I'm going to slag me for this, I'm going to slag this. And so I had comebacks ready. Right. And I was like, I'm ready. So Andy starts commenting. Because I'm thinking it's like a group chat, you know, when you put something in it, it's like, so I'm ready to get slaughtered. So I'm ready with comebacks. And nobody slaughtered us. And I was like, all right, maybe slaughtered us behind my back end, but nobody commented on it. Like. But then it got a good reception, and I was like, all right. But I think because what I was doing was I was reading some books and I was listening to some podcasts. And then, do you remember Chewing the Fat, Ram McGunchy, interpreting for the Neds? It was like that. So I was kind of getting it into my head and then deciphering it all and then just laying it out. And I kind of, in layman's terms, or laying it out, kind of relaying the message of how I interpret it and how I seen it through maybe intertwining it with experiences in my life. So that helped me make sense of that experience because they were said this, and that helped me make sense of that experience in my life. And there's the moral of the story. Right. And then people are like, wow, man, I never thought about that. Or they related to it, and then it made them. So it then just started to pick up traction, mate, and it just started to. And I've very rarely had, any negative comment or message or anything like that, I could count one on. Aye. Which I thought was quite funny, man. And there was one kind of recently, and I just laughed, man. It took me a wee while to swallow it, but and it was like, oh, here we go, another clown trying to make money off social media or something. And I was like, get you up the MC box and all that, you know what I mean? I was like, and then I just, fuck it. And then after a couple of days, you're like, it's done. Do you know what I mean? Bad thing. You're saying you had the gym. This is a good point. You had the gym. You think everybody's got company. Well, see the thing. See when I started doing my videos and I was even talking about training. That all my content before that had been about in the gym. Try this. This is the best technique. Try this exercise. That's my favorite. So it was all gym orientated stuff. See when I just started doing videos, just talking about like I don't know, fucking all my stuff like life, philosophy, whatever. Then people then like, well, where's your gym? Well, all right, I want to come to your gym because they wanted to come and train. So people were coming for different distances or and driving by other gyms because they wanted to come and train with us because they liked what I said, they liked the vibe of the place, and they liked that they were kind of on my wavelength. So then what it done was it brought in people who were strangers but on the same wavelength. Aye, well, and then they were on to the tunes, and it also put people off as well because people would be like, don't fancy that. Do you know what I mean? He's not really my cup of tea. Because back in the early days, I was a bit more, when I watched someone, I'm like, why was I so angry, man? What was I so angry about? And I was probably quite a bit brash and quite in your face. So I think that's why my sister unfollowed this, because she was like, fucking hell. But I think during lockdown, I kind of calmed down a wee bit and just get a bit more relaxed. But so it kind of put people off. So people, wasn't an easy follow. It wasn't like nice pictures of fucking dogs and dolphins in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's a nice page to follow. It was more like, I'm into that. I'm on his wavelength, or like, oh, fucking man, I'm not into that. So, but then it kind of purified it. What it purified the kind of following, I suppose, then, done it, and the connections that you made, and mate. See, when I started putting my stuff out, like, and then I've made pals. I've got pals fucking all over the place. Got a guy in Liverpool I talk to all the time. We phone each other, we voice know each other. Like, I know what's going on in his life, he knows what's going on with me. Big boy, Big Fraser up in Fife, pal with him. Like, I've got people dotted all over the place. I've met up with people. We've trained. We went for cold Dutch. We went for something to eat. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because we've spoke online, and we became friendly, and it's came to a point where you've been, bang, we're on the same wavelength. It's not just meeting somebody and getting to know somebody. It's like, fuck, I'm into that. Do you know what I mean? And it's the end. You start at a more advanced point. You're like, oh fuck, it's like, I fucking spoke to you for months, and when you go to meet them, it's like, all right, mate, blah blah blah. Like, boy, my laugh had done partner, I went to day one of the house room, and I was like, fuck, mate, we actually met face to face, but I was like, bro, what's happening? Oh, I was good, talking away. And then I'm like, fuck, we've not actually met in real life. Do you know what I mean? But like, you're connecting at a more advanced point because you've been on the same wavelength, and you've been messaged back and forward or on the phone or whatever, man. So it's been I like social media. People always going about, oh, it's fake, it's false, it's this and that, man. It's up to who you follow, innit? I've got people that I follow because I'm pals with them, but I've muted them. I've got people that I've unfollowed. Do you know what I mean? Don't want to see some of the stuff. That's cool. You talk too much shit. I'm just no phone out with or nothing, but I just don't want it on my phone. I've got I control what I want to see. I never knew a lot about MMA. I noticed there was a couple of professional fighters were following my page, and I'm like, what the fuck's he's like Mark Ewan, and I'm like, and then a higher level gym had no clue. And I'm like, fucking hell, there's about 10 of these boys following my page, man. These cunts are stone cold killers. You know what I mean? Big in the MMA scene, they're following my page. I'm like, my missus. Fucking like, it was like when Charlie McGrew followed me back. I'm like, what? So when I seen these things, I'm like, these people are actually getting stuff from me, and then I've communicated, I've talked to them and that, and I'm like, wow, man, that's just mad. So for me, it was good for me. It helped me build my business. I made good connections, and I fucking, if I don't like what if I see something I don't like, then I like them follow or just mute. Do you know what I mean? And we connected again, like we said. You seen me popping up like fucking hell, and I'm like, fuck this, I say, fucking hell, man, what's you been?
Social media is great. It's great. People, my wife doesn't like some things I write on it. My dad said it. A few my pals, as I said. But the reason I do what I do, I tell everything. I don't hold nothing back.
Aye.
And I'm going to go into a point in a minute, but the reason is I don't want to be a guy that's saying something who I am and what I'm all about, why I can help you, and I hide this for you. You know what I mean? Because I don't do anything in this world that I can't tell the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I don't say many things. An example is like I told people about being a Muslim.
Yep.
And it was uncomfortable for me to tell people I was a Muslim for years, right? And I think part of the reason I wanted to do that is it actually made me feel more confident in, like, just being confident in my faith or whatever, right? 99.9% of people don't understand what it's about because they've not practiced it at all. But the amount of feedback I get after that, mate, I get all sorts of love. Not even all Muslims, all people that are the Muslims, people messing with Brian, that's actually quite cool. I've never thought of that. And no, I don't want to ask him to be a Muslim, that's not what I'm trying to do, but the amount of hate I get from it is wild. And then I think to myself, sure, what was the point of me doing that? What was that about? But it does tell my story and who I'm about. But the amount of hate I get, mate, I get fucking
mental. Oh
man, you're a disgrace to Scotland, you're this and that. And it doesn't get to me at all. But actually, it gets to me. The fact is, fuck, why did I do that? Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, it's better because it does sell who I am. You know it did no sell, sorry. It does tell who I am. I need to take that out.
So something to ask you. See, I've heard you talking about this before. You just walked in a mosque one day, and it was at the Imam. See, if you'd walked into a chapel that day, you spoke to a priest, do you think you would have been right back into Catholicism? You grew up Catholic,
Catholic. Aye. Maybe, mate. Aye. I mean,
do you think it was just a situational thing that took you to walk into that place, or?
Well, no, really, because my journey, I think what I learned in Islam, for me personally, it resonated with me, and I think in my head is what I always wanted to know. And I can't really describe that to somebody until you've actually practiced it. And it took me 7 years of practice to really be able to say that to you. But what I learned in a mosque is it's a religion. Religion's a mad thing because everybody can believe what they want. There's 8 billion people in this world. I love the fact that everybody believes what they want. I respect it and I love it. And I can say that I'm right and you're wrong, but that's not really clever thing to say. I think that's low intellect because I grew up a Catholic in a Christian country. I can't say that I'm better, I'm superior to them. I believe I'm, for me, in my own personal way, but for me to go and tell 5.5 billion people to turn Islam and it'll make these all better, I don't think that's correct. Personally, maybe some Muslims will disagree with that there, but the reason that it resonated with me is it's such a simple message. Believe in one God is what it is. Believe in one God. And it's not like they believe in 3 gods and it's wrong. Believe in one God, one energy source. And I just thought, do you know what, mate? I've actually always believed in it. And I remember being a wee kid and going, well, I don't want to get too much in it, but I remember being a wee kid and kind of resonating with that more. And see, to be honest with you, bro, I'm looking at myself in the mirror the other day and going, I'm fucking happy with who I am. I wasn't happy with who I was when I was unfaithful for years. And then it does keep me in the straight path. Like Ramadan's hard, praying 5 times a day is hard, but it's like the personal development. It's another form of it. And I say religion's like a personal development course. It's like something that's I get.
And
the stuff that's done for me has been brilliant, man.
I've watched a lot of podcasts with Alfie Best Jr. The wee gypsy, and he converted to Islam. And what he says is, like, I think someone asked his dad, did it make make Alfie Jr. a better man? And he said, no, it enhanced him as a man because he was already a good wee guy. But it's just enhanced him a wee bit more.
I'd say that about myself. It's a very, very easy religion to follow if you follow it correctly. It keeps me away from, well, you can't drink. You can't drink. They don't say you can drink, but be good about it. No,
stay away from booze and stay away from dirty women.
Stay away from booze. Stay away from things like gossiping.
Right.
I never get told that before, but gossiping's bad. See, like talking about country, it's horrible. Or slandering somebody. It actually says don't do that. Like, don't fucking do that. My dad, I had a really good father figure. My dad was a bit of a boy, professional fighter. I had a reputation, all this kind of carry on, fighting with it. And I went through his mad periods when he was younger, like a bit of aggression or whatever, but mate, my dad's the most un-Muslim, Muslim, non-Muslim in the world.
Right.
Because he just lives that. And I grew up with that, do you know what I mean?
Right.
He doesn't do these things. So I was with a guy last night, a guy came up to me, I get all these random guys meeting me for social media, Brian, how you doing? And all that. So a guy came up to my wrestling thing, had a great conversation with him, he was talking about Islam. And I actually said that to my dad on the left, because me and my dad's never spoke about me when I'm Muslim.
Right.
He's kind of not, he knows I was Mecca and all that. He knows I'm doing Ramadan. And I said that to him last night, I said, Dad, look, you're the most Muslim, non-Muslim along my life. So it just, I resonated with that question you just asked, it just resonated with who I was, what I needed to know. And it does good for me, mate. And I think my son will benefit from it, because my son's going to follow the religion, whatever. But I don't want to be a preacher. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that, mate. So what's happening? This is a different setting. So I remember speaking to you last year, and you were talking about changing the gym, and then you're talking about getting an office and that kind of stuff. Now this is materialised. What are you doing in here? What is it? What are you doing here?
So in here I'm doing kind of one-to-one sit-downs. I do a lot of my work, my computer, sitting on the computer, doing as nowadays you're sitting on your phone, doing your social media posts and that sort of thing. Planning stuff, working on the website. But client-wise, I have clients on the couch, and they can be from an 11-year-old footballer who comes in with a footballing issue from I'm maybe trying not to give too much confidentiality here. When they come in, they come in through what was with a footballing issue mentally.
Right.
It turned out it was something else. Right. So you could have that. You could have a business owner. So you could have a managing director sitting there who's totally stressed out, who's using their own coping mechanisms, who's going home every night and guarding bottles of wine, and who's not performing well, which is then affecting, it's trickling down through their company. You could have professional fighters, footballers, So it can be anybody who's, I have had and do have people who are just, it's just about getting their mind right.
Right.
Sometimes it's people need a wee bit of understanding why they're behaving certain ways and why they're maybe feeling anxious about certain things or why they have this horrible feeling that they carry about with them. And when you start talking to them, so I use the NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, which is to do with subconscious of the brain. Long story short, and CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, which is about rational thinking, and that's it summed up pretty quickly. So, and some of it, like we just spoke about, some of it, that's a bit of framework that I've got there, and that's a toolkit, and I've got the different tools for the different things in there for that different framework. But some of it's then just life experience. When, like you say, with somebody who's in, they're partying all the time, they're sick of it. How do I stop it? Right, well, this is what they're doing. That's just going to take a wee bit of discipline here, but this is the steps we take. Been there and done it. I've sat 17 up on a Monday morning with a roasting hot bottle of wine. Do you know what I mean? Thinking, fucking hell, what have I done? I've burnt my life to the ground here. So, and some of it's small business stuff. So I've had so many people that are opening up gyms. My first 4 years of opening up the gym was just full of mistakes.
Oh,
So,
you're guiding on that as well?
So I guide them on that as well. I've been there and done it. And making sure that they help them get things right, like get their pricing right for the start, because then if you try and fix it when the wheels are in motion, you're trying to fix an engine when it's running, it's difficult then. Getting things like that right, so how to price it, how to understand what your costs are, how to understand how to price things, getting your structure right. So that I had a lassie who was launching a side business, she had her own job, she was launching a side business, she had an idea and she wanted to get tidied up. I said, so right, that's it. And it was a kind of combination of training online and an in-person session group. And I said, so what did they do when they complete that? And she's like, oh, well, we'll just get a new intake. I said, what about the people that leave? Yeah, they'll just go. I'm like, why? You get fucking 40 women there?
Right.
I don't know. So, well, they come in, they do that, they then go on to that. That group then go on to that. At that stage, they're very proficient in all their exercises, they've got a good understanding. They need less coaching, but they still need a bit of structure and a bit. So then they go on to that. She's like, fuck, I haven't even thought of that. I was like, so it's just thanks to experience, you know what I mean? She's then sending me a photo of buying a new TT and all that. Oh, where's my TT, man? Do you know what I mean? So there's so many people that I've just helped with things like that, because it's just, I've been out of the trenches with that. I've been there and done it, and give them a bit of guidance for that. So it can be anything. It can be anything. Some stuff's can be quite hard going, can be quite emotional stuff. Other stuff, I'm at a sticky point and I want to get to there. How are we going to do it? Boom, boom, boom. We'll talk things through, and right, there we go. There's the action plan.
Brilliant. Can you do online stuff as well?
I do online stuff as well. My preference is always to have somebody at least once to see if they're run about local enough, get them in, sit them in. Sometimes what I will do is part of a monthly package, I'll have them sitting in, and a part of that will be on the phone or a video call, then back in. So there'll be a kind of an amalgamation of the two, or a hybrid, as the word is nowadays, isn't it? Right. So a hybrid of the two. Other people that are further away. Guy who's abroad, he's from here but he's working abroad. Can we do a session online? Of course we can, mate. Aye.
Is that a video session?
Just a video. I just do a video call. But I'm just old fashioned, mate. I like to be in front of people. Do you know what I mean? And I think you can read people better.
You open up there as well.
So my preference is to be sitting face to face. But if distance isn't allowing that, then I do a WhatsApp call or a video call, Zoom call or whatever.
And you've done the transition from personal training, full physical training, personal training, to the mindset stuff?
I've still got a couple. I've got a wee guy who's a Thai fighter, so I'm doing his S&C, which is quite good. I'm enjoying that. And I've got a wee guy who's a footballer who we rehabbed actually at the gym, but he'd been so long at a football because he's always good slatters. So I'm doing him. So it's good because I did him on a Friday kind of late one afternoon. So I've done all the rest of the stuff for that week. And the two of them I'm not trying to get inches off somebody's waist or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? It's, have you done your macros and that sort of thing? The wee guy's a Thai fighter. He had to cut a couple of kilo. So I've done his diet for him. I'm actually just tweaking a wee touch now because he's fighting a week on Sunday. And he was already starting to cut things there. I'm like, calm down, mate, we're only a kilo over. And he weighs the day before. I was like, we're all right.
I done 8 kilo in the last day, man. 8 kilo,
I says, we're cool, so don't sweat it now. So when it's a cut, and somebody actually just phoned me about a professional footballer He says, can you work with him? So he's let me find the right environment to do it in, because he's at a level where people want pictures and that sort of thing. So I don't want to be getting into a gym where you're getting a session interrupted and people are taking videos. I want a picture of that, and Dane has not in as well. I want to be able to just to be a good environment where I can be getting the job done properly. So we meet up with him. So there'll be a select few that I'll do it with. I was actually thinking about that recently. While I open that up and do a wee bit of that, but just keep it, because I enjoy the sport stuff. I enjoy that. I enjoy that. When you're working towards, see, when you're working towards something, like I'm working with a fighter, and we work towards a couple of fighters actually. And when you're working towards that point of the fight, do you know what I mean? Or when you're with footballers and you're working towards something, that's when they're feeling that difference on the park, it's a wee bit more exciting.
When did you start doing the mindset stuff?
I started doing it a couple of years ago now, more than probably 2.5 years ago. When I started to do bits of it, as well as still doing the gym, I started to do it. I started to do some kind of online projects and these kind of packaged up these workshops that I was doing. But I was in here delivering stuff over Zoom, and it was all right. But it was just me standing in the office talking to my camera, and you can't get a reaction from people, or you're trying to read people, so it was a wee bit weird. I didn't really like it, so. But it was good. It had a good impact with people, and a boy I was on the phone to last night who's coming back on board with us. He was on one of them, and he took a lot for it, but he just wanted a bit of refresher and that sort of thing. So it was about 2.5 years ago I started to do bits of it, and then get the book done and get the NLP thing finished, and then finish the CBT course. And I kind of, for me, that was a lot of kind of lived experience and stuff. That was just a wee box I had to tick just for my own head, to give me that wee bit of credibility, say, right, I can tell you to do this now. Or it just meant I had a couple of people who would sit down, and I was like, I don't want to go any deeper here, because I don't know if I'm going to unloosen the ring nut. Do you know what I mean? And fucking blow the ring gasket or whatever. But now I've got the framework for the CBT and NLP that I've got a better understanding of where we can go with things.
Brilliant. And you've been asking me, sorry, to help you with the schools. Do I talk about that?
Yeah. So I started a thing called the Enhance Project. Again, probably about 3 years ago or so. And what it was when I had quiet time in the gym. The gyms are busy mornings and night times. So during the day in the gym I had space. And I had a conversation with a boy, Big Simmy, and he was saying, there's a kind of charity thing. And they were getting kids out of schools, Bluefield boxing.
Right, oh well.
Aye. So they were getting boys out of school and doing projects, and he's like, you should try something like that. And I went, do you know what, that's a brilliant shout, big man. So because I had, over the years, after all my carry on, and I'd kind of wipe my nose with everything and clean my act up, I had done bits. So there was a guy, Paul Kelly, passed away now, but I'd done a lot of work for Paul. I started working for him for football, doing fitness coaching, because my dream was I was going to be a sports scientist in football. That was my thing. So when I was at college, I'm telling everyone, I'm going to be a sports scientist in a football team. I'm going to be a sports scientist. Going to the SEC with a football team. So that was my railroading. I'm at uni. I was doing voluntary stuff. I was getting my experience, and that was what I was railroaded towards. By myself, that's what I was aiming towards. And so I was coaching football teams, which was funny because you're turning up and everybody expect that you've had a career. Right. I kind of kicked my ass. Didn't even play amateur, didn't even play boys club, man. 2 games with altar boys or something when I was a wee guy, you know what I mean? So I was just having to brass can it and say, I did do my cruise ship, right, which is obviously a normal fit. But I done my cruise ship walking up the road for King Street car park, BBC One, BBC Radio 1, Rave, the Millennium. And I slipped on ice. I was mad with it, and I slipped on ice. I'd done my cruise ship then. So I did have a dodgy knee, so I just kind of said, I had injured when I was younger, I didn't play in that. And I just had to kind of go and brass neck it. So I was doing football sessions and that for him, and doing working on fitness for football. So then Paul had community companies, and I started doing some stuff, and Paul then started finding out my story and the routes I had been doing, and my experiences. He then started to use my own name. So I would go and work on his projects and do drop-in sessions here and there, and doing some work with City Building. He would do work with City Building, so I was doing work with their apprentices. about the dangers of getting involved with certain things in that, and where they can lead to, and how it can then, for them, it's about how that can fuck up their apprenticeship or that sort of stuff. So I'd started to do a lot of that, and I really, really enjoyed it. I always thought I wanted to do my own project like this. So then, when that came about, and I had the time in the gym, and I had the venue, and I thought, right, I'm going to put together my own project. So I did. I put together my project, and then I basically just started champing on doors. Anybody who I knew who was a teacher, boys through football that were PE teachers, people I'd went to school with, and I was just emailing them, texting them, getting them on Facebook, whatever, and just saying, like, this is what I'm doing. Who would deal with us at your school? Oh, I'm working with them, or I will put you in touch with them. And I was just getting into the school, asking for meetings to get into the school. This is what I want to do. And some of the schools I'm saying, like, give me 12-year-old, 3rd and 4th year boys that are causing mayhem, and I'll take them into my gym, I'll train them, and go and sit down and talk some sense into them, which is kind of, that's that in layman terms, you know what I mean? And again, when you're talking for experience, they're like, oh, and when they know you're not a teacher that needs to take their shite, do you know what I mean? Which, and sometimes I'd have to lay it down a wee bit, and sometimes lay it down kind of joking, like, man, I'm not a teacher, I don't need to take your shite. The cameras are kid on, I'll punch fuck out you in here. And not one of them will say anything, you know what I mean? They're like, I'm like, this is where we'll be, man. Don't get cheeky. And so, but then they responded well, and when they realised they could relax a wee bit, I said, boys, we're not in school. We guys like that. What are you on up for? Can I go to the toilet? Do you need a push? You're 15-year-old. Don't ask me permission. Do you know what I mean? What you got to do if I say no, push yourself? You're 15-year-old, son. Do you know what I mean? You could go on a building site in a few months. So if you need the toilet, you say, Mark, I'm going to the toilet. Right. I'm not going to baby you in here. I'll treat you as a young men. You treat me with respect, to you respect. Goes, we can have a laugh, we can slag each other. What was that thing with? I was one time I was doing a workshop, and I was like, how I couldn't get a job and I'd finish uni. So I opened up my own business. So I'm writing up the board, and a guy says, no wonder you couldn't get a job at the state you're writing. I was like, that baby, man, do you know what I mean? So when they realised we could get a laugh like that, and I was going, right outside, when I could realise we could get a wee bit of banter.
It was funny when you brought them in the knee that you were doing it. I was doing it. I love it. I enjoyed it, mate. So that's really good. First time experience with kids like that in that way. And they were saying, I'm going to batter him. Two of them will say that. The wee cheeky man's always say, I'm going to batter him. And I spend a wee bit 5 minutes like humbling him a wee bit. You need that, you know what I mean? I was up with Fort, and one of them, for the one that was up here, a kid from up here, he's like, I know you. And it was like 3 or 4 like wee boys at 17 with, I didn't really click. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Aye. And he's like, you're a fighter, aren't you? And I was like, aye. He says, I've done that training with Big Mark. And I was like, oh, how are you doing, son? He's like, pals, he can fight, no, he's a big man. I was like, oh, man. It's gave me that wee motivation to do the charity.
Aye. Mate, it's brilliant. See, when I bump into him, so see, I've done a lot with Spindle Academy. I've done loads of projects with him. So see, when I got there, it's brilliant, mate. The wee guys that you say, Mark, how you doing? I'm doing this now, and I'm applying for college. Or ones I've seen, I was at the shop there, and a wee guy had come out of the college, he'd seen me coming in, and he'd went to another school, can't remember what it is, but he was at the college, he'd seen me. So he came into the shop, he's like, Mark, how you doing? I'm at college now. He's like, I seen you coming in there, I just wanted to let you know, like, all the stuff you've done in the project, or they'll text me on social media. I'm doing this now, the guy's a barber, he's learning barbering. He's always wanted to do it, and then when you said about one of the projects, he's like, I just went to all my local barbers and said, like, can I come in and learn? Brilliant. And he does a Saturday, and he's like, all right, I'll come in, you can cut my hair one time, man. Brilliant. So it's brilliant, mate, because sometimes, I don't know, like, some of these wee guys, maybe experiences, they don't have anybody who's showing them a bit of love, or maybe no, some of them, they're lacking role models, they're lacking positive role models, they're lacking people that are showing a bit of interest in them, they're lacking that wee bit of guidance.
Some of them have dads.
Aye, and that's a big thing on some of them, and some of them they just don't respect them as well. So like I had one particular group, and the teacher said, Mark, see this list of names, I'm looking at this list of names, there's not one teacher in this school would take them on in one classroom. Aye. She says, this is a really high tariff group. I said, yeah, give me them, man. And they were bad, well, not bad, but they were very challenging, right? So we were talking about the second or third session, man, I just fucking lost it. Aye. Fucking sit down and every fucking one is sit your fucking ass. No, just stop. Done. And just let rip with him. Aye. Just let rip with him, because I'd lost them, mate. It was like,
what were they doing? Sorry.
It was like, mate, it was like a pack of stray dogs just running about. I'd lost control of them. And I was trying to be cool, trying to be their pal, trying to be sound, and I just, and they all sat down, and I went through them, and they all just kind of sat and listened, and nobody talked to them like that. They were on a video. The teacher can't talk to them like that. Pros can't. They're not scared of the pros. Pros can't do anything. They're only 14, 15, 16. What's going to happen? So when somebody was talking to them sternly, they just obviously weren't used to it. And they're just not used to behaving, no discipline or anything like that. And I'm like, so I just laid down the law again. I said, boys, I was stern with them and I was shouting them. But I said, look, this is the way it is in here. If you don't like it, that's fine. Go and hang about outside the shoppy. I don't care. If you come back in here next week, so I went on with them and basically said, look, I'm not falling out with MD. If you don't want to do this, that's fine. If I see you outside Greg's, how you doing, me man? All right, they bother. I'm not falling out with MD. But if you want to come back here, come back ready to listen to what I'm saying, and listen to apply yourself, and listen to do what you're told, and listen to, ready to do what you're told, ready to behave, and ready to apply yourself, and ready to treat me and everybody else in a full place with respect. And they were like, I said, on you go to now. In fact, no, we've done a meditation after that. I said, session's cut short, we're cutting that session now, get the mats out, and then we're going to do that relaxation because you need to chill it, and I need to fucking chill it before I let them want to use, man. And we done it. I taught them. So I used to just stay at the end of the project, but now some of them know each other or whatever. They ask about it. So it's a wee relaxation thing I do with them. So I put on the binaural beats, get them lie down, and then just talk them through a relaxation process. You've got wee guys out cold, mate.
Brilliant.
Out cold, and they'll come in and they're like, we do that sleeping thing again, or that thing that makes me feel stoned. Can we do that again? I'm like, well, there you go, wee man. You can get the same feeling as you get for feeling stoned, but you don't owe MD 20 quid. Aye. Do you know what I mean? So you can go here, you don't need to go and cut about day daft things. You can just go into your room if you've got a quiet space yourself. Or even I said, I even did a sitting out when I was out with the dog. Just sit, man. Doing that breathing exercise, bring myself down. I was like, oh, I've done it sitting here, I've done it when I've been driving. I've been in a bad mood, something's happened, then you're almost in a bit of road rage with somebody, and I'm like, where's that going to go?
Exactly.
Because I'm in a bad mood for them, I've almost went into a wee bit of road rage.
Exactly.
And where can that end up? The two are out the motor, bang, I punched him, he's dead, or I go to punch him, he stabs me, I'm dead. Do you know what I mean? So, or for the sake of it, because I'm in a bad mood for something there. Right. So it's like, wow, right, I'm not taking this in any further situation. I've just pulled out the side of the road, I've done it a couple of times. Binaural beats, done my breathing exercise, calm me down. So, you know what, I'm going to go and get a coffee and fucking get the tunes on. Aye, cool, somebody beats on me, calm down, mate. Calm down, man, it's alright when you go. Ready to hammer, you know what I mean?
I don't get that anymore, that road rage thing.
Do you know now?
No, I used to have some bottles after I'm doing that, but see now I'm just like, come on, man, just a guy in a water. I take that empathy, saying I know that they're going through a bad day.
Aye.
I'm quite good with it.
Aye, so with the school project, mate, it was really just because of my experiences and because of all my experience for the kind of negative stuff and the dark stuff that all happened, and then how the decisions from when I was younger, how they then just snowballed to just, I suppose, exploding or imploding when I was in my 20s, how that led me there. And then, so I talk about that stuff, and every workshop, so the projects are usually 8 weeks, once a week, and every workshop's got a point to it. So it starts off with all the kind of habits and that sort of thing, and then it's about the change, and then things about how they can maintain a healthy balance in themselves mentally and things like that, and the different habits they can do, and then what I done to change my life and what I done to better my life, and then the lessons I learned being a business owner. So see, I'll do pre-employment stuff for them as well, helping them getting themselves do's and don'ts and tips for interviews. How to prepare for an interview, how to turn up for an interview, how to write a CV, how to approach a business owner, how to make approaches, just cold approaches. If you're asking for if you're coming to ask for experience, if you're coming to ask for, if they're looking for apprentices, like, go and stand out. Don't just text them or whatever. Go into the office building. Hi, how you doing? I'm so and so. I'm like, some of you guys can shake hands, right? If you guy come in and he's like, he had a scarf up to there, we're in the building, the scarf up to there and the hood up. He's like, giving him a watery handshake. I says, wee man, we're in the building. Get your hood down, get the scarf down. Look me in the eyes, shake my hand. Shake my hand, squeeze my hand. So and then that was just something. Even when I had the gym, that's something used to say. You had to shake hands, right? Everybody hear the clap and all that sort of thing. So wee things like that. So teaching them how to shake hands, teaching them to look you in the eye. Yeah.
Teachers don't do that. I don't remember.
So part of it is, like one of the wee guys said in here that there was one wee guy had been off the week before, and his wee pal said to him, we done that last week, that's when you were off, when you were away. He was, I can't remember, he slagged him, he was away, whatever he was doing. He said, you should have been in here learning how to be a man. I was like, well, if that's your take for it, wee man, then good, because I'm trying to instill those things into them as well. It's part of that. So you're trying to enlighten. The wee thing I say is enlighten, empower, enhance. I'm trying to enlighten them. I'm trying to make them see, well, you don't need to go and get point twos. You don't need to smoke vape pens. You don't need to smoke the hash pens. You don't need to go and hang about. There's other things you can go and do. You can go and do much more positive stuff. You might not make it in football. You might not make it as a boxer or an MMA fighter. But doing that stuff throughout your 20s, it's going to distract you, and it's going to, like I spoke earlier on, it's going to keep you away from all the madness. It's going to keep you from hanging about the parts for all the carry on and getting involved. Oh, fuck, I didn't even mean to get involved in that. But you're there and you're involved. But it's going to keep you there. Brilliant. So you're training on Saturday morning, so see that on a Friday night, you want to sit in there, you're going to go to Nando's, or you're going to go to Nando's with the boys you're training with. Aye. You're going to so it's keeping you. My best mate's Robert, guys for the boxing. Aye. It's mad because you spar with them and you get a wee bit better relationship with them. Aye, these Waynes need that. They're not getting it for free after school. Aye. For free, they're not getting it. They're not just getting it given from teachers. Yep. I wasn't given that. My teachers would put me outside the class if I was disruptive, rather than say, that wee guy needs a bit of attention, or he's ADD, or whatever the fuck it is. He needs a bit of attention, let's go and get him in a course. But there wasn't anybody available when I was younger. Aye. It's an evolution in the modern times, isn't it? Yep. What is the future hold for you? I don't know, as long as I have a future, mate, that's the main thing, man. What does it hold, mate? I would just I just want to have freedom, mate. That's what I want to have. I want to have freedom to be a dad. I want to have freedom to. My big dog passed away, obviously, so I want to have the freedom to get a new dog and spend time being out with the dog, spend time myself, spend time out with the family, being able to do things with them, but being able to provide, like I said at the start, I suppose, being able to provide all these things, being able to provide love, a good example, be able to provide like financially as well, and comfortably. Do you know what I mean? And be able to provide a bit of peace of mind for me, my wife, and the range. You know what I mean? And so that's whether I stay in Scotland, whether I move somewhere in Scotland. I've always had the idea of, or I love the idea of being out somewhere seaside, countryside sort of way, like a Gale sort of. Aye. Like I went to holiday in Butte out of Rossi all the time when I was away, and that's where we've been the past 2 summers. Brilliant. Now that's where I've been the past 2 summers, and somewhere out there, fucking brilliant. I'd love it. So whether it's a wee holiday house, a caravan or something, we've got to there, but I think when I get that's me. I'm like, cool. Yeah. I'm happy now. Like somebody said, like, what's your ideal motor? That's like, I was like, a dream motor. I'm like, not really asked, man. Not really asked. Get a nice thing, mate. Just get a nice, I don't know, something nice, comfy, a nice Volvo XC90 or a pickup or something like that, and I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? Or a bit of old Land Rover or something. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really bothered with that, man. I just, like you said, I suppose at the start, as long as the future's peace of mind, peace of heart, and giving the boys a good example and making sure they get a good upbringing. That's keep your wife happy, mate. That's it, really. That's it, man. Aye. But if you want to leave any bit of wisdom or advice for them that's got to listen to this, what would the parting words that you've got to somebody? I suppose there's always a thing about make sure you keep your priorities right, but until you have that wake up moment of what your priorities actually are. Because through the years of my madness, my priorities were all wrong. And I think when it hit the fan, then it was who was left standing. When the fan blew away everything, who was left standing? Probably more than that. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's a good question actually. What would the wisdom to be? Live a good life and be a good example. That's brilliant. That's what you're doing, it. Aye. If anybody wants to get hold of you, what do they like that? What's your social media? Mind Coach Mark. It's probably the best one. Mind Coach Mark on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. And you can get, excuse me, Mind Coach Mark on Instagram, and my link tree's on there with everything else on it. Brilliant. Class. Brilliant.